Kirby is having a fun time on Dreamland, playing around, catching fish, having a fun time, and then he goes to sleep. He's having peaceful dreams. When you look up into the sky and you see something is falling out of the sky. Don't know what it is yet. And you see vines growing out of the ground that lifts Kirby's house into the sky. And then Kirby wakes up and he goes outside and he sees that he's just floating in midair. He panics and runs out. Thankfully, the vines that are connecting his house catch him. He sees that Dedede's castle has also been lifted up into the sky. Kirby, being friends with Dedede at this point, goes and rushes to Dedede's castle to check up on his friend. And there he sees this weird magical spider person that has overpowered Dedede's Waddle Dee guards and is trying and successfully going to kidnap Dedede. And Kirby is helpless to stop him. He just watches this spider take off with Dedede, and Kirby rushes off towards him, climbing up the vine. And there is where the main point of the game starts, of the world in the sky, Floralia. Also, weird thing to mention, Kirby's sleep hat, before this all happened, used to be teal. When Kirby fell out of his house, the teal hat fell to the ground and we never saw it again. Kirby's sleep hat is now purple. They made a canonical reason for why the hat's color is different.
It's very deep lore, I bet. Even
very deep lore. The teal sleep hat is very deep lore, trust me.
Yes, deep lore.
And so Kirby's adventure starts.
And they encounter each other multiple times. Terenza increasingly using Looney Tunes-esque actions to make the bosses mad at Kirby to occupy him.
So, Petra is one of the bosses you fight in Triple Deluxe. She bears a striking resemblance to another character we did not talk about from a spin-off game called Kirby Canvas Curse. That boss is Dracia, and she is all about painting and stuff. Petra is actually the sister of Dracia. They are related. That's important.
Coily Rattler is a hot metal snake that's supposed to be a statue, but Terenza brings it to life. We don't know much about Floralia, but we do know that Coily Rattler is a deified entity to the Floralians. They worship Coily Rattler as a god. And we're not sure if that ends up meaning anything. We don't know if Coily Rattler actually represents some other entity that exists, or if Coily Rattler itself is just the god in question, because it's not, obviously it's not a god. It's supposed to be a statue. But We're not really sure what the truth behind that is. Maybe there is some kind of snake god in the Kirby lore that we've yet to meet, but I guess we'll have to find out about that later. Alright, let's continue. Ultimately, Kirby's goal is to find the Sunstones, so that way the Dreamstalk, which as it is called, grows higher and higher into the sky, up to the mysterious castle known as Royal Road that Terenza is heading towards. Now, Mr. Terenza is a loyal servant of the vicious queen Sectonia, who has hostilely taken over Floralia and kidnapped many of its inhabitants. We don't know much about Floralia itself, but we do know plenty about Terenza and Sectonia.
Yeah, so the people of the sky, which is what the people of Floralia are called, the reason why the Dreamstalk had appeared was because Sectonia had kidnapped them to make sure that her rule of beauty would not be abolished. And so the people of the sky, as a one last ditch hope, threw a miracle seed down to the skies below, the lower world, into Dreamland. to call out to a hero to come and save them.
Terenza has been appointed to kidnap the hero of Dreamland by Sectonia, so that way her permanent rule can remain in place, and so she can take over Dreamland as well. However, Terenza misinterprets this. You see, Kirby himself, though he is a brave hero and has saved many places, is not a very well-known person. There are very few characters who actually know who Kirby is, and Magolor from the previous game was an exception. He was actively snooping out Kirby himself. Terenza mistakenly believes that King Dedede, who has now earned the loyalty of his subjects after previously being a self-proclaimed king, Terenza believes that Dedede is actually the hero of Dreamland. So he mistakenly kidnaps him instead of Kirby, which accidentally leads Kirby to traveling all the way up to Royal Road to face down Sectonia himself. In a big rematch, Kirby fights against King Dedede with his mask on from Revenge of the King, a nice callback. Sectonia descends as Terenza pleads for her assistance. Sectonia, her heart grown cold, cares not for Terenza. She casts him aside, blasts him off of the castle steps, and faces Kirby herself, swinging with her magical spells and massive crystals and these big fucking swords. But Kirby is not one to easily go down, not even to royalty. He's got plenty of experience beating royalty, so he defeats Sectonia. Sectonia weeps and whimpers, but she's not done yet. The Dreamstalk, which is now in bloom thanks to the Sunstones, shines under the glow of the pale moon, and Sectonia, destroying her body to construct a new, more beautiful form, fuses with the Dreamstalk, threatening to consume all of Dreamland and suck all of its life into her own body. Now, Queen Sectonia, let's talk about her. Are we ready to talk about Sectonia, Dan? You wanna take it from here?
Ready to talk about Sectonia. So, Queen Sectonia, as we know her, is a tyrannical tyrant who's only obsessed with beauty and power. But she wasn't always like that. Terenza and her used to be great friends. Some could even say lovers of a sort. And Terenza had come across this magical mirror that he had no way of knowing would eventually lead to her downfall. And he decides to gift it to his friend. And so Sectonia looks through the mirror, and a dark reflection looks back at her. This mirror is the dimensional mirror that it was from Amazing Mirror. It's the same one that Dark Mind had corrupted. And so Sectonia looking through the mirror ultimately led to her being obsessed with beauty and power. Sectonia and Terenza are people, spiders, who have the ability to body snatch, basically. And so, Sectonia, obsessed with beauty, body snatches other beautiful people's bodies and takes them over, basically. Sectonia looks like a gigantic bee, but she looked more similar to Terenza's appearance instead. But because of the body snatching, she no longer remembers what she looked like or who she used to be. All she is obsessed with is beauty and power. And so Terenza lost his friends, all because of something that he did. It's pretty sad, isn't it?
Yes, but Terenza still remained loyal to Sectonia. He continued to work under her, despite her condition. And now, in the present day, Kirby flies in. With Dedede's help and the help of the people of Floralia, he pursues Sectonia's new, heightened, beautiful form. Getting closer and closer to the source of the beast. And soon the flower wilts as Kirby lands the final blow. But, as is common for the pink puffball, he celebrates too early. He's captured by Sectonia and squeezed for dear life. Will Kirby too become another one of Sectonia's hosts? But no. Someone carries Dedede to the battle. But it's not the Floralians who had helped previously. It's Taranza, who, witnessing the wicked ways of his master and of himself, has chosen to give Sectonia an eternal beauty sleep by helping Dedede and Kirby defeat her in the final battle. Taranza launches King Dedede at Kirby. Dedede knocks Kirby out of Sectonia's grasp, and Taranza, latching on to a hypernova fruit, a fruit capable of enhancing Kirby's power to inhale, he throws it at Kirby. Dedede throws Kirby at the fruit, and together they fuse into Hypernova Kirby. With his super ability to inhale, Sectonia is no match for his power, and she's blasted into smithereens, never to be remembered, and finally put to rest. And so, Sectonia's grasp on Floralia and on Dreamland weakens. The Dreamstalk, which had been used by her to constrict the world, now stands as a beautiful landmark in Dreamland. A beautiful blooming flower. And Taranza, well, he's more of a friend now. He still grieves the loss of Sectonia, even to this day. But he's growing. He's becoming a better person as time goes on. Maybe someday he'll find someone else too. But that's not the end of the story. There is an entirely alternate story, which is sort of like a what-if scenario. I'm not saying it's a parallel universe. If you want to believe that, that's fine.
We're not doing that, no.
We're not doing that. This is basically a different world, or a different scenario, in which Dedede goes on the adventure instead of Kirby. It's called Dedede Tour. Nothing really changes until the very end. You fight a bunch of harder bosses as Dedede as he rushes through Floralia with his big hammer just destroying everything. And he finally ends up at Sectonia EX, who he clobbers, of course. But, suddenly, Sectonia's vanity appears before him. The dimension mirror itself appears before Dedede, and reflecting the darkness within his heart, incarnates Shadow Dedede. And Dedede swings and smashes against this shadowy counterpart. There's no way he could ever lose to the darkness in his own heart. Dedede has come so far. He's grown so much. He could never lose his own flaws. Dedede is truly a good-ish person. And so, Shadow Dedede stands no measure. He shatters into glass. But the mirror remains. And Dedede, feeling a dark force festering inside, is swallowed up inside.
and he faces off against a familiar foe from Amazing Mirror. It's Dark Meta Knights! Dark Meta Knight is still here in the mirror world causing havoc. Dark Meta Knight and King Dedede face off against each other, but King Dedede is a way stronger hero than Dark Meta Knight could ever hope to be. And so Dark Meta Knight shatters, and so does the mirror. And King Dedede finally gets to go home after all of this adventure.
Well, basically, just letting us know that Dark Meta Knight does still exist. He's still a character. He's not happy.
Even after the events of Amazing Mirror, yeah, he's not happy now. His entire play basically got ruined by Kirby.
Yeah.
He's not happy.
I know many people say that Dark Meta Knight is the one who corrupted Sectonia, but
no, it was Darkmon.
Yeah, well, it's not Darkmon. It's just the mirror, because the mirror is evil. The mirror is permanently evil.
Yeah, because Darkmon
Yeah.
corrupted the mirror because he's in the mirror and then we killed him.
Yeah, Dark Meta Knight is just in there being angry. That's basically.
Yeah, he surprisingly didn't die after he got defeated. He's still there,
also,
causing
Shadow
havoc.
Kirby is also in Kirby Triple Deluxe. It's not a big lore thing, but he appears in the side mode Kirby Fighters, where you can fight him as the final boss. He looks different.
He's very evil. He's very hard. He has a different appearance. We don't know why. He is a jerk.
Yep, but he's still the same guy. And there's one other extra piece of content at the end of the game. After you do the entire boss rush, you get to fight against Sectonia Soul. Now, we didn't talk about Magolor Soul last time, because Magolor Soul is basically the same as regular Magolor. The only difference is in the remake, he is fully taken over by the Master Crown, and the Master Crown fights using his body, basically. Like, he no longer exists in that form anymore. And when he's ultimately defeated, they are not separated like they are in the normal game. However, here, we are subject to a brand new fight. The fight starts with Sectonia consuming the Hypernova fruits, the miracle fruits, and becoming her soul form. And once that form is defeated, she tears herself free of the dream stalk, leaving behind a gooey form with her 4 wings. She barely even resembles what she used to look like anymore. And her body amorphously shifts and tears, almost like Marx's in a way. And it's quite gross. It's pretty gross. Yeah, it's gross.
Yeah, it's very grotesque. Yes.
It's quite similar to another boss that we didn't talk about from a spin-off named Drossia, who is actually the original Soul boss. Her name is Drossia Soul, of course. This fight is not considered. The Sectonia Soul fight is not considered part of the main continuity. But it wouldn't really change anything if it was. It doesn't matter. The end result is the same. But essentially, this fight has Sectonia monologue in her hidden description, where she monologues about how she laments the lack of self-understanding she has anymore. She doesn't understand who she is anymore. She's fed upon countless people. So many that she can't even remember herself, as we've discussed previously. And it's not Taranza who comes to offer her beauty sleep. She herself, in this depressing state, is the one who asked Kirby to permanently put an end to her. Perhaps showing that even she is not fully capable of her own actions anymore. She just wants to disappear. After all the corruption, all of the souls that she's consumed, she cannot bear to exist anymore. And so, in the base game and in the Soul boss, Kirby ultimately provides her with her beauty sleep. And now, that is the end of Kirby Triple Deluxe. Soon, though, a new Kirby adventure will come out. While this one was full of plants and life, This one is cold and iron. A new invader from space lands on Popstar and fills it with capitalism and machinery. Next, we'll be talking about Kirby Planet Robobots, the second game on the Nintendo 3DS.